Happy Memorial Day weekend. It's a 3-day weekend. I told myself that this was the cross-stitch weekend, and it is going to be, even though it's already noon on Monday. I have procrastinated again, and instead I've finished 3 books. I just want to craft, but my brain is not letting me. I'm getting nervous. I have a cycle, and I know this about myself, that when I learn something new, I wing it, and then I get frustrated that I don't know how to do it properly. So then I avoid it for long periods of time, and then I remember it, and I come back to it, and I learn it properly, and then it becomes like fundamental to the things that I enjoy in a new hobby, and it's wonderful and great. So I'm trying to skip that first part, even though I have procrastinated it long enough to where I could have already gone through the cycle and it ended up back here. Anyway, my mom got me a Harry Potter cross-stitch kit. My aunt also got me another one. It's just much larger, and I would like to tackle that at some point. But to inspire me, have also been thinking of other projects that I want to do, some bookish, some like fun and cute. I have a really cute idea for a crew neck design. All that to say, this weekend's the weekend. I'm starting it literally right now. I just need to stop yapping and talking myself out of it. Because little do you know, this is the 6th time I've tried sitting down to chat about it. So, I'm done. Done talking, done procrastinating. The worst that happens is it's terrible and I throw it away and I try it again, Dakota. I just really don't want to take any shortcuts or make any assumptions, or I want to learn it properly. So, that's what I'm going to do. The Pinterest tips and the don't do it this way, do it this way, and all of that noise and chatter can come later down the line. I'm going to stick to this kit, the instructions in it, and call that a day. So, okay. I'm nervous.
Morning comes with the early summer light. Curtains sway gently by the window, and you're sleeping. Tender wind dancing on my skin makes me stay in bed a little longer to hear you breathing. Long for those quiet days when the hours drift away. Petals fall on the window pane as the clouds above.
Are we ready for the grand reveal? Months and months and months of procrastination has finally led to this moment. Cute. I really like how it turned out. It took me Camp Rock 2 to finish it. I don't know if this is silly to say, but I can't tell if there's a front and a back to the Ada cloth. If so, I think I did it on the right side, but I really don't know if there's a front and a back. So I should probably sort that out. I did have several questions come up. This gave me what I needed to work in like a row, but as far as going up and down and starting that next row, I'd had a few times where the thread came out of the past stitch that I'd made because I'd put it in the wrong, I don't know how to explain that, but that brought several confusions. I don't quite understand how to start. I think maybe I'd mentioned it, maybe I didn't, but it said the center. Then I'm like, okay, center, but I don't see how that's center. Like, I don't see what the point of working in the center is, because for me, my brain would just start working with a color. And I would go to the outside. So I would probably do all of the red first, and then I would go into the black, and then I would go into the yellow, and then I mean, maybe, or I would start, like, where would you start? I don't know. I don't understand that. So, confusion on that. Like, I wrote it down in my journal, and in my journal I put, how do you start? I also saw something called a loop start, which I just kind of, I didn't thread them in, but it just said to go underneath and then pull it out, and that's all I did. And I mean, if it sits in a frame, I'm sure it'll be fine, but I don't know. I mean, it's just the longevity, isn't it? To test if it's worked. I don't know. That confused me, but I had heard of something called a loop start. I don't know what that is. Also, this is the counted cross stitch method. I saw like a design printed, but I also saw a girl like draw her design on with colored pencils, which, to not have to count all of this, I think that would be something that I could do here, is just color pencil it, but I also think that that's a bit tedious. So I don't know, I'm kind of thinking of just winging it. No, that is the whole point of this. Check out that. It's so silly to say. Maybe it would be strategic. I have a strategy behind it now that I actually have learned it. That was another question. So counting versus drawing stitches in, losing a stitch every now and again to go left and right, right to left, up and down, down to up, whatever. Working in the center, why? Don't know. That was also what I had already said. And then loop start, whatever. So I think before I start this one, I might just take a quick little break. I'm rewarding myself with chocolate. So maybe do a quick internet dive to see if I can answer some of those questions. Also, this isn't straight. Like, I put it on the hook, but also, not hook, hoop. My brain is crochet. The best, I will give myself some credit here. The best thing I did for myself was buy a thing of Ada cloth, because the Ada cloth that this kit came with, I was like, I don't really know how to tell good Ada cloth from bad Ada cloth because I don't know anything, but working with this is so much easier than whatever they gave me. And this hoop, had I not already cut these so small, I would have used the other hoop. It's like a bamboo set of 3, but that's, I think, a 5-inch hoop, and this is a 3-inch, and so I'd cut these squares too small, so it won't fit in that bamboo one. This, have I been saying hoop or hook? This hoop sucks, but again, it's just a like beginner. Anyway, so I'm gonna do a quick little research break. I also definitely switched back and forth the entire time through the English method and the Danish method. I think those are what it's called. The English method is when you go bottom left, top right, bottom right, top left, bottom left, top right, bottom right, top left, and like make your X's as you go. And then the Danish method, I think, is when you go bottom left, top right, bottom left, top right, bottom left, top right, and work in a row. And then you come back to the start and go, like, finish all the X's and go bottom right, top left, bottom right, top left, bottom right, top left. I'm like, too many this. I think those are what it's called. I definitely switched back and forth because I was having a hard time with some of these, like, okay, I'm going down this way now, so I can't come all the way back if I'm doing the Danish method, because then how do you get the thread back? So I was just switching back and forth. When it made sense in my brain to do the Danish method, then I would. But for the majority of the time, it made more sense to do the English method in my brain. I don't know. How many times have I said I don't know? I don't know. Okay, time for chocolate and research. I think the goal is to finish this one as well today. I'm certain it's gonna take me a lot longer. It will involve a lot more accounting. I don't know what it is about my hobbies just being counting. I just count 24/7 in crochet projects, and now I'm counting more in this, which is why I think the design printed, or like specifically for the ones that I want to make that don't necessarily have a pattern, drawing it on with a colored pencil would probably work better. Anyway, ramble. Chocolate research.
Evening comes with a fading summer light.
This will be the final check-in for today. However, I'm going to keep working on it, but I love it. I love it so much. I have a bone to pick, however, with the kit company, whoever they were. The hoop is not big enough for the pattern. I counted this little guy so many times, and it's simply not big enough for the surface area that, like, obviously once you get like the inner hoop and then you put it over, I tried. So essentially, again, I do have notes. I did look up all of my questions and I have answers to them, and I will share them at the recap. But I still don't know where I was supposed, like, what, if there's a right or a wrong for where you're supposed to work. But essentially I decided to do all of the dark, and then now I'm doing the red. I say dark because it's like, it's not black, it's like maybe a very, very, very navy blue. I don't know. I'm hoping it looks nice with the yellow, although the yellow is very yellow. So we'll see. Anyway, I have a bone to pick with the company for that. Also, I didn't do anything wrong. The P and the L. Are we seeing what I'm seeing? Are we disliking what I'm disliking? I don't like the P and the L. It stands out so easily that the line weight obviously is different, because those were just individual cross stitches. They weren't built up, and they're also at a diagonal. So I just think, like, I don't know what to think about that, but I might fiddle around with that before I do the yellow and maybe see if I can build up those letters a little bit, because I don't like that at all, actually, the more I think about it. So the two reasons I need to pick a bone with this company is the hoop size and the P and the L. Like, why? I don't understand that. Maybe if I mess with it myself I will understand, but as of right now, don't understand why they left it that way. Because I can't use the hoop, I had to do the essentially everything but the platform 9 3/4. So the whole dark border and then the red border I've had to do solo. So I did iron it, took it off the hoop, ironed it so it laid flat, and I think that gave at least some sturdiness back to it, which was nice. So it hasn't been a complete pain, but that was an unexpected challenge. Anyway, I am enjoying this a lot, and I'm kicking myself for not having started sooner, but there's nothing we can do about it now. All I know is I love it. I love it so much. I have more thoughts that I will leave for a full recap. I have like a plus minus list, the things that I'm running into that are kind of frustrating me, and then things that I'm running into that are good. Cute. I love it.
Twilight air drifting through the window, and you're sleeping.
I am very happy with how those turned out. And I have my notes from learning properly for the first time ever. I'm very excited. So I have like my pluses and minuses, my takeaways, and then I also have my answers to my questions because I learned and I asked questions and then I researched those questions. This is unheard of anytime I've ever tried to start a new skill. This seems like what a normal person would do, maybe not like written down, but here we are. One of the main ones that I didn't mention was just kind of being interested in the Aida cloth sizing. I assumed that it was this way, did discover that I bought a 16 count Aida cloth and they gave me 14 count Aida cloth, and 14 count will be 14 squares per 1 inch and 16 will be 16 squares per inch. So in like a 100 by 100 centimeter, the 14 count design will be like 7 inches or whatever, and 16 count would be, what did it say, 5.5 wide. So 16 count would make that design smaller. So I should have stuck with the 16 count cloth that I had, but when I was counting the squares in the design, the platform 9 3/4 one weirded me out, so I stuck with their 14 count. I actually probably should have stuck with my 16 count. Neither here nor there. It was finished and I think it looked really cute. The only bit of winging that I did in this entire process was I had mentioned I didn't like the P and the L, and actually a little bit of the R and the M. The A, T, F, and O, they were more like flat across, but the 2 letters on the sides were more at an angle, at like a diagonal line. So for the squares, that was hard for it. It just became like 1 square per side. So I did build those up, and I just was like, maybe I add a square here, and it ended up working out better. And from a distance, you can tell better that it says platform. Before, I didn't like how it looked. So that was the only bit of winging that I did. Proud of myself there. Okay, that was the Aida cloth side. I also learned that, technically, because it's done, Aida cloth is woven on a loom. The front and the back are nearly identical, but the main area that you can tell is that the front could be smoother and shinier, and the back would be like maybe duller or fuzzier, like you couldn't see the squares as easily. To tell, they said to like run your finger down a finished line if possible, not one that you cut, like one that's like the produced finished line. The front would have a smoother edging and the back would have a like rougher, sharper, bumpy edge. And I did find that to be true with mine. Wow, the more you know. A loop start. I am so happy with a loop start. That was probably my favorite thing that I learned in this process. And it corresponds with one of my positives of cross stitch that I was weary of. So I said working in the center. I assumed as to why, but it is true that it guarantees your design is centered in the hoop. You won't run out of space. However, it's not a structured mandatory, you must do it this way now, because a lot of people will use grids and templates and go left to right like you're reading a book. And specifically when I was going through and doing the yellow in my platform 9 3/4, that was like left to right. Like it needed to be, because I was doing a Dutch stitch and I was filling it in as much as I could go and then coming back and then filling it in and then coming back. And so that's where to me a left to right makes more sense than center and like branching out from that. However, one of the videos that I watched said that when you start in the center, it helps you pick up somewhere else, because you know that that's your center point and then you can count from there, as opposed to if you're off and you start in the top left and you're trying to work on something in the bottom right, you might be off on your stitch count, which completely, all of that checks. Again, I knew that there was a method to the madness, I just didn't know what it was until I looked it up. So it's basically a reference point. That was more about how to start. And then as far as working left to right, right to left, up, down, down, up, I feel like that's still where I'm a little uncertain, that I need to learn more about. Now to my plus and minus. I will go back and forth. So my first plus was just how like therapeutic and puzzle-esque that was. The first day that I learned cross stitch, I think my screen time was 30 minutes, and that bleeds into my second one, but it was completely enthralling. I had my pattern and I was counting, okay, 4 and then up and then 5, okay, 4 up 5. Like I was a lady on a mission. Again, I think I've already mentioned this, maybe I haven't, but apparently my hobby is just counting, because I count 24/7 in crochet, and now I'm counting 24/7 in cross stitch, which is fine. But that is becoming the theme of my hobbies, is just counting. I haven't had that much time in my head in a good way in a while. Because when you start to learn a new skill, you're kind of like all in there. Sometimes when I'm crocheting, I end up just zoning out and thinking about 15 million other things. This kept me very present and very like in what I was doing. So it was very therapeutic in that way. Next, what I just mentioned, my con is that I still don't think I'm doing right to left or down up correctly. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing those, but I still don't feel comfortable when I come across something that I'm like, oh, I have to go back. Makes me feel like I've done something wrong or I've missed a step. So maybe I'm not supposed to be able to do that. I don't know. Okay, so going back to my plus is that it's completely phone and screenless. I mean, I didn't have the pattern on my phone. I had it on something. Most of my crochet tutorials and projects I use YouTube for, so I will have a video for until I get the hang of it, and then I can go off screen. But this was really fun, and I feel like if I do the colored pencil, then I definitely will not need a screen at all. And I love that so much. Screens hurt my head, which is ironic because it's probably gonna take me 5 hours to edit this video. Okay, next thing for my number 2 con of cross stitch is this hurt physically. Like, my hand hurt. That little needle is certainly not ergonomic at all whatsoever. Eye strain, I definitely found that this is a morning, early day craft, because when I was trying to cross stitch at night, I couldn't see. I had like all of my, heaven forbid, I used the overhead light, but I had all of my like ambient lights on and I still couldn't see. My shoulders, my neck from sitting in the same spot, my hands from the little needle and like holding onto the hoop, and then, oh gosh, yeah, no. This, I will preface this by saying that not everyone's like me and needs to start and finish a task in one sitting, no matter how long it takes. So the first day, close your ears if you are someone that feels passionately about protecting your body. I sat in the same spot for like 8 hours and I just straight through. I hurt. I was like, oh, ow, my back was cracking. I wouldn't recommend that, but that's how I'm wired as a person. My next plus is something that I was honestly concerned about when I would see cross stitch, is what I am always concerned about with a crochet project, is you get to the end and you're so excited, and then, oh great, now I get to weave in all of these ends. It's the most painful. I hate it. It's terrible. However, with a loop start and then like a quick little weave in of a thread at the end of a color switch, when I finished platform 9 3/4, she was done. I didn't have to do anything else. The back was all done. Everything was finished. It was all beautiful. And so that was a big plus. I was worried, very worried that I was getting into something else, that I needed to do a bunch of, finishing and all of that. And she's beautiful. I keep looking over there because I keep staring at them. So they're sitting right there. My con on the number 3 was that, I'm going to put it out there, we could just be making comments about cheap materials, but the hoops were very difficult to work with. I got the plastic hoop that the kit came with, and then I got a set of bamboo hoops that were just literally the only hoops at that aisle at Michael's. No, they were not easy to work with. I was fighting trying to get the 8 o'clock in and trying to get it to stay and tighten, and then it was like getting really flimsy. It wasn't pulled tight. So I'm going to say that has everything to do with the fact that that was literally a $1 bamboo hoop and cheap 8 o'clock. That was the platform 9 3/4 is the 8 o'clock that it came with. The Harry Potter Glasses and Scar is the 8 o'clock that I bought. Much preferred working with that one than the other one. So maybe number 3, it just has everything to do with material quality. And then ending it on a high note, it was very easy to retrace my steps. I was nervous about learning something new for the first time, but because you go basically in the same either X or all horizontals and then all diagonals and then all diagonals back, again, English method, Danish method, now more confident that that's what those are called. If I realized that I missed something or I should have switched do a different color or should have like made a space for a different color, it was really easy to just, okay, thread that out, thread that out, thread that out, as opposed to embroidery, which I will mention probably has everything to do with the fact that I did not learn embroidery properly. I just started winging it. When I realize I messed something up, or I don't like how a thread's sitting, or I want to redo something, I'm like, oh, but I've just been here, there, and everywhere with this thread, and now it's going to take me a while to figure out how to undo it. This was very easy, as long as you like catch it. I'm assuming if you keep going and you run around, it's gonna be harder to fix. Anyway, the last thing, what else did I put? Intrinsic fulfillment. Okay, when I was finishing Platform 9 3/4, I had this feeling and this understanding about myself that crafting and creating things is about the only time where I feel like completely purposeful. Like I know that that is what I'm supposed to be doing right then and there, and it brings me such joy, and it is something that's completely my own. I do things for other people as well. I don't just do things for myself. The intrinsic fulfillment that I got really had nothing to do with the final result. It had everything to do with the fact that I was spending my time wisely. I was doing something that I love to do, that fills my cup up, that ends up being cute. I've had these ideas to kind of add a few different things to my bookshelf for a while, and I just haven't done it yet, but they were done and they were beautiful, and I really enjoyed learning a new skill and like doing my research and, well, why is it that way, and figuring out why it is that way. So I had a really, really, really wonderful time. I don't feel this way about anything else as when I like am reading a book that's really great and I love it and I'm obsessed with it, or when I'm doing a new craft that is really fun and I love it and I'm obsessed with it and it's becoming what I want it to be. It's something that makes me happy. So thanks for coming along. I think the clip that I am using at the start is going to be the clip where I was the least anxious in starting, but I was very nervous, and I'm trying actively to get better about learning how to do new things and potentially being bad at them. I did make some errors and I did mess up a little bit, but they're so cute and fun. I love them. So anyway, it makes me happy. That's all that matters.